Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel BBC Rare Coins. Today, we're diving into the fascinating history of one of America's most iconic coins, the Jefferson nickel. Let's start. Top 1. Have you ever looked at the coins in your pocket and wondered if one of them could change your life? Most people never give a second thought to the nickels, quarters, and dimes they use every day. But what if one of those coins, just a simple 5-cent piece, was actually worth thousands of dollars? Let's talk about the 1983 Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it looks like any other nickel. It has Thomas Jefferson's face on the front and his famous Monticello home on the back. But not all 1983 nickels are created equal. Some of them are hiding a secret that only trained eyes and lucky collectors have discovered. In 1983, the U.S. Mint produced millions of nickels, but due to wear on the dies and quality control issues, very few of them were struck with high precision. That's where the term full steps comes in. On the reverse of the coin, Monticello steps are supposed to appear clean, sharp, and unbroken. But because of the poor strikes that year, finding a nickel with clearly defined, untouched steps is extremely rare. Collectors go crazy over full steps nickels. For the 1983 P and 1983 D nickels, full steps examples and high mint state grades are incredibly hard to find. One example of a 1983 P. Jefferson nickel with full steps, graded MS67 by PCGS, sold for over $4,000 at auction. That's 80,000 times its face value. And that's not even the rarest type. There are also 1983 nickels with major mint errors, off-center strikes, double dies, and planchet flaws. A 1983 nickel with both full steps and a major error is even more valuable. These are the coins that get collectors talking, the ones that make national headlines when they sell. Now let's turn to a different coin, one you probably have in your pocket right now, the quarter dollar. What if I told you that one of the most valuable modern coins ever sold was a quarter, and it went $4.77,000? This wasn't an ancient gold coin or a silver dollar from the 1800s. It was a 1970 Washington quarter. But what made it special was the mistake. This quarter was accidentally struck on top of a 1941 Canadian quarter. The traces of the original coin could still be seen underneath the U.S. design. That kind of error is almost unheard of. It slipped past quality control and somehow made its way into circulation. Once it was discovered and authenticated, it caused a stir in the numismatic world. Experts verified it as a genuine double strike error, an extraordinary minting mistake. And when it went to auction, it sold for an unbelievable $77,000. Because true error coins are rare. But dramatic, obvious, and well-documented errors like this are on a completely different level. They are considered one-of-a-kind pieces of history. No two are exactly alike. And for collectors, that kind of rarity is priceless. So now you might be asking, could there be more coins like these out there? The answer is yes. There are still rare coins hiding in plain sight, inside change jars, tucked away in drawers, or waiting in bank rolls to be discovered. Every year, new finds are reported. Coins struck on the wrong metal, coins with doubling, off-center designs, or full steps nickels from a year like 1983 that shouldn't even exist in that condition. These coins are treasures disguised as pocket change, so don't ignore that handful of coins you get from the gas station. Don't toss that nickel on the table without a second look. Because if you know what to look for, you might just discover a coin worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars. The Jefferson nickel and the Washington quarter. Two everyday coins. Two extraordinary stories. And two reminders that history, value, and opportunity can be hiding in the most unexpected places. Start checking your change. Your next great discovery could be in your pocket right now. Top 2. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a plain old nickel, and realizing it could be worth thousands of dollars. Sounds unbelievable, right? But it's not just a dream. It's happened before. And it's happened with one of the most overlooked coins in American history, the Jefferson nickel. Today, we're talking about the incredibly rare and valuable 1984 Jefferson nickel and a stunning quarter-dollar coin that sold for a shocking $74,000. But the Jefferson nickel has been in circulation since 1938. Millions have been minted, passed through generations, tossed in jars, spent at stores, and forgotten. But every once in a while, one of these coins turns out to be something truly special. The 1984 Jefferson nickel is one of those coins that at first glance, it looks just like any other 5-cent coin. The familiar portrait of Thomas Jefferson stares out from the obverse side, while Monticello, his home, stands tall on the reverse. It's a design most Americans have seen thousands of times. But some of the 1984 nickels have a hidden rarity that makes them highly valuable to collectors and nearly impossible to find in top condition. What sets the rare 1984 Jefferson nickel apart is a combination of factors: pristine condition, flawless strike quality, and in some cases, minting errors. Among the most sought after are those with full steps on the Monticello building. This means all the steps leading up to Monticello are clearly and sharply defined. No blurring, no fading. Just clean, sharp lines from top to bottom. Because of the way coins are struck, most nickels don't show full steps. The dies wear down, the strike pressure weakens, and the details get lost. In 1984, most nickels were struck poorly, making full steps examples exceptionally rare. Now imagine finding a 1984 Jefferson nickel in near-perfect mint state 67 or higher with full steps. That's a coin that can sell for thousands of dollars at auction. Collectors hunt tirelessly for these because they represent the very best of what's possible from that year. A coin like that isn't just rare, it's a trophy. And then there are the error coins, the ones that were never supposed to exist. Some 1984 nickels have been found with off-center strikes, double dies, and even incorrect planchets, meaning they were accidentally struck on the wrong type of metal. These kinds of mint errors are extremely rare, and depending on their uniqueness, can command prices well into the thousands. But the nickel isn't the only coin breaking records that lets shift gears to a coin that stunned the coin collecting world. A $quarter that sold $4.74,000. Yes, a quarter. 25 cents. Worth more than a luxury car. This wasn't an ancient coin dug out of the ground. It was a modern quarter, one that had a mistake so rare, it instantly became one of the most valuable quarters ever sold. What made it special? It was a major mint error, possibly a transitional error or struck on the wrong planchet. In simple terms, this quarter wasn't made the way it was supposed to be. Maybe it was struck on a planchet meant for a foreign coin. Maybe it had dramatic doubling, or was struck with two different dies from different coin types. Whatever the exact error was, the coin was authenticated, graded, and put up for auction. And when collectors saw it, they went wild. This quarter eventually sold for $74,000. An incredible price for a coin that most people wouldn't look twice at. It was a once-in-a-lifetime error, the kind of thing that shouldn't exist. But it did. And someone found it. That's the magic of coin collecting. Sometimes, value isn't about age. It's about rarity, condition, and sometimes, pure chance. A small mistake at the US Mint can create a coin that becomes a legend. Right now, rare coins are still out there. In old drawers. In rolls from the bank. In spare change. The next $74,000 quarter or ultra-rare 1984 Jefferson nickel might be sitting in a pocket, totally unnoticed. So start looking closer at your coins. Flip over that nickel. Check the steps on Monticello. Look for perfect strikes, clean surfaces, strange colors, or anything that seems just a little off. Because one small coin, one piece of metal most people ignore, could end up being worth a fortune. The 1984 Jefferson nickel. The mystery quarter that sold for $74,000. These aren't just coins. They're reminders that treasure doesn't always come in gold bars or buried chests. Sometimes, it jingles quietly in your pocket. Top 3. Have you ever stopped to think that a simple coin, something as small as a nickel or a quarter, could be worth more than your car, your savings, or even a house? Today, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of US coins to uncover two extraordinary stories: the incredible value hiding in the 1990 Jefferson nickel and a rare $quarter that shocked collectors when it sold for a stunning $70,000. But let's start with the Jefferson nickel, specifically the 1990 issue. The Jefferson nickel has been in production since 1938, featuring the third president of the United States, Thomas Jefferson, on the obverse, and his home, Monticello, on the reverse. By 1990, this coin had been circulating for over 5 decades. But that year, something unusual happened. A small number of 1990 Jefferson nickels were struck with such precision and quality that they stood out from the rest. The key factor that makes some 1990 nickels incredibly valuable is the full steps designation. This refers to the number of distinct, uninterrupted steps visible on the Monticello building on the reverse of the coin. A full steps nickel is one where the strike was so sharp, so perfect, that every single step is clearly visible, without wear, damage, or weak detail. Now, full steps Jefferson nickels from 1990 are extremely rare. The U.S. Mint was not known for consistently strong strikes that year, so finding one with full steps in high mint state, we're talking MS66 or higher, is like finding a needle in a haystack. And here's where the value comes in. Because of their scarcity, these high-grade 1990 full steps nickels are prized by collectors. One in nearly flawless condition can easily sell for thousands of dollars at auction. These aren't coins you find every day. These are the kind of pieces that make experienced collectors stop and take notice. It's not just about the nickel itself. It's about how few exist in that condition. But there's another layer to the 1990 nickel story. Error coins. Occasionally, something goes wrong at the mint. A coin might be struck off-center, double struck, struck on the wrong planchet, or even have a rotated die. If any of these errors occurred during the minting of a 1990 Jefferson nickel, the value can skyrocket. Combine a mint error with a full steps designation, and suddenly you're looking at a coin that can be worth several $1,000s or more. Depending on its grade and rarity, it's a reminder that value isn't always obvious. Sometimes it's hidden in the details, the steps, the shine, the strike. But if you thought that was impressive, wait until you hear about the quarter. This story takes us to one of the most jaw-dropping modern U.S. coin discoveries, a $0.25 that sold for an incredible $70,000. That's not a typo. A 25-cent coin sold for $70,000. What made it so valuable? It wasn't made of gold. It wasn't centuries old. It was a rare error quarter, possibly from the State Series or a standard Washington quarter, that contained a dramatic mint mistake. This wasn't just a small flaw. It was a once-in-a-generation error. Something like a double denomination strike, where the quarter was accidentally struck over a different coin. Or maybe it was struck on the wrong metal. Something completely out of place, like a foreign planchet or a leftover blank from another series. Whatever the case, this quarter was verified, authenticated, and put up for auction. And when serious collectors saw it, they knew exactly what they were looking at. A coin so rare and unique, it might never be seen again. That's what pushed the price all the way to $70,000. Coins like this are legendary not just because of their value, but because they were never meant to exist. They're accidents, beautiful, rare accidents, that somehow slipped through the minting process and found their way into the world. Now here's the wildest part. There could be more. Coins like the 1990 Jefferson nickel in high grade, or a rare quarter with a dramatic mint error, aren't always sitting in museums or vaults. Some are hiding in plain sight, in your change jar, your glove box, or a roll of coins from the bank. That's what makes coin collecting so exciting. You don't need a treasure map. The treasure is already in circulation. It just takes the right eyes and a little patience. To find it.so next time you're handed a nickel, flip it over. Look at the steps on Monticello. Are they clean, sharp, unbroken? Does the coin shine with the luster of something untouched by time? And when you hold a quarter, look closely. Is something off? Is it thicker, thinner, lighter, darker? You might just be holding a mistake. The kind of mistake that turns into a $70,000 payday. The 1990 Jefferson nickel and the mystery $70,000 quarter remind us that sometimes the most ordinary things can turn out to be extraordinary. The coins you carry every day might be far more valuable than you think. Start looking. Your next big discovery might be sitting in your pocket right now. Top 4. Have you ever stopped to think that the coins jingling in your pocket might be worth far more than their face value? Today, we're diving into the fascinating stories behind two of the most valuable and rare coins in U.S. history. The elusive 1994 Jefferson nickel and a $0.25 so rare it sold for an astonishing $68,000. Let's start with the 1994 Jefferson nickel, a coin that looks ordinary at first glance, but hides a treasure beneath its surface. For decades, the Jefferson nickel has been a staple of American currency, featuring Thomas Jefferson's profile on the front and his iconic home, Monticello, on the back. But among the millions minted every year, some stand out for reasons only serious collectors can appreciate. The key to the 1994 Jefferson Nickels value lies in something called full steps, a term used by numismatists to describe the clarity and sharpness of the steps on the Monticello building on the coin's reverse. When a nickel has full steps, every step is perfectly defined and unbroken, indicating a strong strike from the mint. This kind of precision is surprisingly rare, especially for coins from the early 90s. Most 1994 nickels show worn or incomplete steps because the dies used to strike them were starting to degrade, or the coins were struck with less pressure to speed up production. But a small handful were struck with incredible detail and care, leaving the steps crisp and fully visible. These full steps nickels, especially in mint condition, graded MS66 or higher, are some of the most sought-after Jefferson nickels ever made. Collectors prize these coins because they represent the very best quality from a year when such perfection was uncommon. A 1994 Jefferson nickel with full steps and in near-flawless condition can fetch several $1,000s, often much more than you'd expect for a simple 5-cent piece. And it gets even more exciting when error coins enter the picture. Some 1994 nickels were struck off-center, doubled, or on incorrect planchets, making them incredibly rare and valuable. A 1994 full steps nickel combined with a notable mint error can push values even higher, sparking fierce competition among collectors and driving auction prices into the tens of thousands. But the nickel is just the start. Now, imagine a $quarter coin that recently sold for an eye-popping $68,000. What kind of quarter commands such an incredible price? This quarter was no ordinary coin. It was a rare mint error that captivated the collecting world. Whether struck on the wrong planchet, showing a dramatic die clash, or featuring a double strike, this quarter was a once-in-a-lifetime find. Coins like this are so rare that they instantly become legends among collectors, with prices reflecting their uniqueness and historical importance. The $68,000 quarter represents one of the highest auction prices ever paid for a modern U.S. quarter. Its rarity and the story behind its error make it priceless to those who understand its significance. Together, the 1994 Jefferson nickel and this extraordinary quarter remind us that real treasures often hide in plain sight. Every day, people spend these coins without realizing the fortune they might be holding. A simple glance at the steps on a nickel, or a closer look at the details of a quarter, could reveal a coin worth thousands, or even tens of thousands, of dollars to own next time you receive change. Take a moment to inspect those coins. Look for the full, sharp steps on Monticello. Check for unusual marks, odd strikes, or anything that seems out of the ordinary. You never know. You might just be holding the key to a remarkable discovery. The history and value of the 1994 Jefferson nickel, alongside that rare $68,000 quarter, serve as thrilling examples of how everyday objects can become priceless artifacts. It's a treasure hunt where the prize might be hidden in your very own pocket. Keep your eyes open and your curiosity sharp, because sometimes the smallest coin can tell the biggest story. Top 5. Have you ever thought about how a simple coin, something you use every day without a second thought, could be worth tens of thousands of dollars? Today, we're uncovering the incredible stories behind two of the most valuable and rare coins in American history. The 1999 Jefferson nickel and a $quarter so rare it sold for an astonishing $65,000. But let's begin with the 1999 Jefferson nickel. At first glance, it looks like any other nickel. Thomas Jefferson's profile on the front, Monticello on the back. But not all 1999 nickels are created equal. What makes some of these coins stand out is a detail known as full steps. Full steps refers to the condition of the steps on Monticello's front porch depicted on the reverse of the coin. When a nickel is struck with full steps, every step is perfectly visible, sharp, crisp, and unbroken. This clarity indicates a high-quality strike, something that was relatively rare for nickels from the late 1990s. Most 1999 nickels in circulation don't show full steps, because the dies used in that year were heavily worn or the coins were struck with less force. Finding a 1999 nickel with full steps in high-grade condition, meaning it looks almost untouched since it left the mint, is like discovering a hidden gem. Collectors highly prize these coins, and their value can soar into the thousands of dollars, far above face value. But that's not all. Some 1999 Jefferson nickels were also struck with mint errors, making them even more valuable. Errors like off-center strikes, double dies, or wrong planchets can increase a coin's rarity exponentially. A 1999 nickel that combines full steps with a significant error can command prices far beyond what most collectors expect, sometimes reaching into the high thousands or even tens of thousands. Now, let's turn our attention to an equally fascinating coin, a $quarter that recently sold for a staggering $65,000. What kind of quarter can fetch such an incredible price? This wasn't just any quarter. It was a rare mint error, something that collectors dream of finding. Whether it was struck on a wrong planchet, exhibited a dramatic die clash, or had a double strike, this quarter was an extraordinary anomaly. Coins like this are exceedingly rare. When authenticated and graded, they become prized pieces for collectors worldwide. The $65,000 sale price speaks volumes about just how much collectors value such unique pieces of minting history. Both the 1999 Jefferson nickel and this extraordinary quarter are reminders that the coins we carry every day can be much more than just currency. They can be pieces of history, art, and incredible value, sometimes hiding in plain sight. So next time you get change, take a closer look. Check the steps on your nickels. Are they sharp and well-defined? Look closely at your quarters for any unusual marks, misstrikes, or anything that seems out of place. Because your next big discovery, a coin worth thousands or even tens of thousands, might be right in your pocket. The 1999 Jefferson nickel and the rare $65,000 quarter show us that sometimes the smallest objects can hold the greatest treasures. Keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and you just might find something extraordinary.